y'all, and welcome to my vlog. My name is Erin, and this is the first installment of my new series, Trope or Nope. We're going to talk about tropes that commonly show up in love stories and the romance genre, see what people like about them, and what might suck. Today we're going to be talking about magical tropes, specifically divine love, magical contracts, and interspecies relationships. Number 1, divine love. This is where a mortal character has some type of romantic or sexual relationship with a divine being, specifically a god or a demigod. Other magical beings like the fae, vampires, etc. don't fall under this particular trope. If you are familiar at all with Greek mythology, then you will have seen this trope a lot. Why do people like it? I think part of the allure is the power fantasy. If you are with a divine being, you are theoretically set for life. It also sets up the idea that you as a mere mortal are extra special because this divine being who has the weight of the world on their shoulders and a million responsibilities has chosen to spend time with you. I guess the perks to this would be your divine partner is always going to look amazing, few people are going to dare fuck with you, and you might get special treatment assuming you are allowed to be public about this relationship. Often the negatives associated with this trope are just flat out ignored so we can appreciate the fantasy. Why might it suck? I mean, the power dynamics in this relationship are about as skewed as you can possibly get. The divine being holds all the power, and it's not really possible to have a normal relationship. One partner probably has to become divine themselves, or the divine partner has to give up their divinity in order to balance this situation out. You can also run into issues with consent, because who can safely say no to a god? People in mythology have tried to do so, and it did not work out so well for them. If you're not outright murdered, you will probably at least be cursed. Also, there's kind of the issue of time having no real meaning to an immortal being. Because being chosen by a deity is supposed to be a blessing or an honor, if the person is not super enthused about this match, they could become isolated and lose the support of their community. Mortal is also gonna age and die. It's just the facts. One partner is gonna live forever and look smoking hot while doing so, and the other partner is gonna age and die without ever having a partner who can really share their life or their hardships. A god isn't gonna come help you sweep the floors or change a diaper when they've got the existence of the world to worry about. Number 2, magical contracts. Magical contracts is exactly what it sounds like, a contract bound by magic. In these cases, it's not any kind of governing body that is enforcing these contracts, they're enforced simply because they are magic. In order to get free of these contracts, you either have to fulfill the terms of it or figure out a loophole. Loopholes are your absolute best friend in these situations, assuming you're clever enough to figure one out. Ariel signing over her voice to Ursula, Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire, Chihiro giving her name to Yubaba are all examples of magical contracts. The fun thing about it is that both the contract owner and the person signing it are bound by the same rules. If you follow the rules of the contract, there is theoretically nothing the contract owner can do about it if they don't like the end results. Why do people like it? It's a super fun trope if it's written well. My preference on this angle is that the romantic pairing is working together to figure out a loophole, or that one partner has gotten involved in a magical contract to protect the other. If someone is already under a magical contract when they meet their partner, then you have a built-in quest already there where the characters can bond and develop their relationship. Why might it suck? If you're starting off this pair where one of them is magically contracted to the other, then you've got some power imbalances going on, and it also gets into the squicky ownership territory. Please don't write things where someone is owned by another person and they're supposed to be romantically involved. Magical contracts also tend to be made when one of the parties is in some kind of distress. Why would you take a risk in making a contract with some magical being if you didn't really need to? This can lead to the terms being wildly skewed in favor of the one who is providing the services. I've also seen magical contracts in paranormal romance, specifically when it comes to mating. In this case, when a character has sex with their soulmate, some form of brand will appear on their hand and they have a very finite timeline to convince their soulmate to sleep with them again and to say an oath that will bind them together for eternity. The details of this particular situation is that the woman has to be on top, she has to join their bodies of her own free will, and she has to say the oath, otherwise the male partner will basically be rendered impotent for the rest of his life, but she would be free to go on her way regardless. Besides this being extremely heteronormative, it also puts the characters in a super shitty situation. I certainly wouldn't be cool with the associated guilt trip and coercion that's going along with that. Would I care if this person I just met couldn't get it up again? Sorry, not sorry, but I'm not going to be coerced into sex for the sake of your future erections. Number 3, interspecies love. If you've been on Tumblr at all, you have probably come across the concept of the monster fucker. That would 100% fall under this trope. It's a trope that has been showing up in storytelling for as long as people have been telling stories. Vampires, werewolves, aliens are all filling this quota. You should be intimately familiar with this trope because it shows up everywhere. Lord of the Rings, Beauty and the Beast, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Little Mermaid, Avatar, Shrek, The Shape of Water are just a few examples. Why do people like it? The attraction to this trope, I think, depends very much on what species is being focused on. In a lot of these cases, it seems like the main character tends to be treated a lot better by their interspecies option than they are by any of the options in their own species. Obviously, that's not always the case, but it does come up a lot. When a swamp monster treats you with more kindness and respect than a human guy, you might be tempted to hang out with them too. Part of it can also come from the creature representing a feeling of otherness that the main character is going through. They don't fit into the world, they're not treated well, and they want more than convention would allow them. Enter the paranormal that offers them acceptance and understanding in a way that the rest of the world does not. Sure, they might have fur, scales, but they see into your soul. And they probably have a cool castle out in the wilderness. Why might it suck? The squick factor is going to be a thing for a lot of people, but also if you're not into this trope, you're probably not going to unknowingly stumble into it. You might be having some issues with anatomy. If the werewolf, centaur, whatever has a human form, then you have a lot more flexibility, but if they're going to be in that non-human state when sexy time goes down, you're gonna have some other things to consider. Do you have compatible genitalia? Cats have barbed penises. Does that panther man have a barbed penis? If that's the case, you probably don't want that anywhere near your sensitive bits. Also, if someone's getting with a centaur, remember that the reason bestiality is illegal in the state of Washington is because some guy was getting it up the butt with a horse and it perforated his colon and he died. So just something to think about if you're considering working with this trope. So that is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. My contemporary romance novel, Heart and Soul, is available for pre-order now. If you pre-order a copy, you can enter the pre-sale giveaway for a chance to win some awesome prizes. The first 3 chapters are available on my website if you would like to check it out. If romance isn't your thing, my other 2 books, Olympian Confessions, Hades and Persephone, and Olympian Confessions, Hera, are available now in ebook and paperback. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you would like to be notified as soon as I upload, then I'll ring that bell. All my social media links will be in the description below, and if you would like your manuscript critiqued by me, you can check out my critique service. And I will see you all next week with another video. Bye!